Did you know that over 90% of women struggle with some form of PMS? That means the bloating, the acne, the migraines, the irritability, the brain fog, like all of this comes up at a very specific time of the month. And if you're just joining us for our monthly cycle series, we're talking all about your luteal phase and how you can start avoiding these PMS symptoms. Because this is what women think about when we think about our hormones, is this part of the phase of our monthly cycle. So if you're just joining me, my name is Laura Sherrill, and I'm a women's health and wellness strategist, and I help women balance their hormones so you can avoid all of these symptoms. And on our monthly cycle series, we've talked about your follicular phase, your ovulation phase, and now it's all about that luteal phase. So if you don't know what this phase is, it is the 10 to 14 day period right after you ovulate. And so that's 2 whole weeks that you're essentially in this phase. And so I like to break it up into 2 different weeks. So the first week is right after you ovulate, and your energy still remains really high. You're still having that mental clarity that you had, during your ovulation phase. And then the second week is the one right before you have your period. And this is the one that most women are struggling with. I mean, if almost all women, over 90%, are dealing with some form of PMS, this is when it's showing up. So the week before your period can just feel like this really overwhelming time, right? Or you just start feeling like something is wrong with you, or you just can't understand why things are going wrong. And so part of this monthly cycle series and why it's so important is because if you are experiencing symptoms during this phase, it is because of something going wrong in the other phases that are leading up to it. And then based on how you treat your body during this phase, it's going to predict how your period's going to be. And then how, your ovulation and everything that follows your luteal phase, which is going to be. Which is why women get stuck in this vicious cycle, and why we can't seem to understand why our bodies aren't working the way that we want them to. But if you think about it, when do your food cravings come up? My guess is right before your period, or very much so during your period. When do you start feeling really low energy and bad about yourself? My guess is right before and during your period. And so then what habits do you then turn to? Do you cut yourself some slack and not exercise whatsoever? Or do you give into those food cravings, which then are essentially leaving you miserable? So this is the time of the month too where you start seeing your health report card. So your period is a report card to your overall health. It's an indication of how well you are taking care of yourself, how well your food habits are working for you, how well your exercise and your self-care is working for you. And so if you're coming up on this part of your phase of your cycle where essentially everything just starts falling apart, you really need to tune in and ask yourself, am I living the life that I need to be living right now? Am I supporting my body the way in which I need it to be? Because all of these symptoms are telling you that you are not. And I'm going to be blunt, I'm going to be clear about that, because this is a part of the month that most women struggle with, and that's usually when I start getting emails and notes from women of just what they can do about it. And it's not just a quick fix of, oh, I just need to treat myself well in this week and I'm going to be totally fine for the rest of the month. Everything builds upon the next. So if you're not taking care of yourself in this phase and continue to do so throughout the rest of the month, you will absolutely continue to have these hormonal problems, which is why over 90% of women are struggling with it. And I think one of the most important pieces to take away too is to understand that these symptoms are not normal. They are a sign from your body telling you that something is wrong, and that your body knows no other way to tell you or to try and get your attention by giving you these symptoms. So as you start learning more about your luteal phase and just what you can do to really support your body, you will then start noticing the shift that you then have across your entire month. And you'll watch these symptoms just start going away month after month. And when you can alleviate that, it just brings in so much more excitement for life. So I absolutely was in that 90% where my PMS symptoms were totally interrupting my life. I mean, I called out of work every single month for a few days. It got to a point where I just couldn't deal with life, essentially. It just felt like this stress was just mounting on my shoulders, and I just didn't know any other way to release it but to cry. I would absolutely have those emotional breakdowns during this time. My body would start bloating, all of a sudden. It just felt like my body was revolting against me, and there was just nothing I could do about it. And even though those symptoms would go away, it then didn't mean that that was okay for me. And so by really taking action and really valuing how I wanted to feel within my own body and making sure that that was the most crucial thing in my life, I then was able to alleviate those symptoms and then be able to show up more as the woman that I knew that I was meant to be. And so your luteal phase can just be very confusing as, all of a sudden you're having high energy and then all of a sudden you're not. And then, your mood is feeling off and different and your body is just not flowing the way that you want it to. So just what can you do about this? And so absolutely detoxing any way that you can, because your hormones right now are starting to slide down into their lower levels. So if they're not balanced or they have too much of a significant drop, we then can have these symptoms that come up. And so by making sure that you're detoxing and releasing excess hormones that your body no longer needs means that they're not going to be recycled in your body, which could then be leading to these types of symptoms. So a great way to detox is making sure you're getting your cardio in. Really get your body moving, sweating out anything in the way in which you can. So you can do that through cardio, you can do that through hot yoga, really getting that skin detox, sitting in the sauna for a little bit, taking an Epsom salt bath, really trying to sweat things out. So I always try to go to a hot yoga class or to Bikram. If you've ever been to that, it's like a hot yoga, it's like a 105-degree room and you're doing yoga for 90 minutes, which is a bit intense, but the sweat detox is unbelievable and your skin will just glow after going to a hot yoga class. So don't be intimidated by the heat. It's going to feel unbelievably amazing once you're used to it, and always start slow. And then any way you can detox your body. So I drink on this Bloat Blast juice mix that I make throughout my entire luteal phase to flush my tissues. And it's in the Balance Bombshells Snapshot Guide and Journal book, which I'll leave a link here that you can download, because this juice is like absolute magic, which is a note I get from my clients because they're just like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable to just be able to flush your tissues and not hang on to that water retention, which we then get with the bloat. And the more you can start with that, so I started sometimes even during ovulation, and I'll drink that through when I get my period, because it just really helps even cleanse your internal organs to be able to get these excess hormones out so your body's not recycling them. We do not want recycled hormones. It is just absolutely not what you want in your body, and this is the time of the month where you're going to feel that. And so making sure that you also just partner your food if bloating is an issue for you, or if you're having any sort of like acne breakouts, making sure that you're eating diuretic foods. So I really refrain from having my clients take diuretics, because that can really screw up your electrolyte levels and make you feel dehydrated. And even drinking more water can actually prevent bloating. So increase your water intake, and then you can eat foods that are natural diuretics. So those are things like lemon, celery, cucumber, asparagus, fennel, papaya, and even pineapple can help your body prevent bloating. So load up on those foods during this time, and you'll really be able to help release that bloat that your body then clings to with all that extra water retention going on with your hormones. So the more that you can really just help balance your body using food and your exercise will be so crucial. So what's going on with your brain during your luteal phase? It's actually a really magical time of the month. So you might have noticed in your ovulation phase, your energy is really high, you're feeling really charming, charismatic, you're very social. You might very well feel that way for the first part of your luteal phase. So you might be getting out and about, you might be more active, and then you start noticing that your brain starts shifting. And so when the brain starts shifting, your energy shifts a little bit differently, where you still have the energy that you want, but it might not be where you want to essentially be around people. So you want to kind of just scale back and kind of do you for a little bit. But your brain wants to hunker down on your to-do list. So any tasks that you may have set for yourself that you haven't gotten done throughout the entire month, now's the time to do them. And you might notice that your productivity is so high that you can just bust through your to-do list, where was that like a week ago when I was sitting here trying to get this done? So if you have so many things in your to-do list, you can just start checking them off, and it just releases all of this extra energy and this pressure that you put on yourself, and it just feels unbelievable. And you can even start planning your life like that. I plan out my month of hey, this is a time where if I didn't get to it at this time of the month, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because my brain is so hyper focused at this time. It's unbelievable. And another thing that's going on with your brain as you're shifting into having your period is that your left and right brain hemispheres become the most aligned. So think of your head and your heart coming back together, and it's essentially your brain and your body taking stock of your life and letting you know if things are working for you or if they're not. So if you find that you're really moody during this time, really irritable, use your moods as a form of your power, of recognizing how am I saying yes to other people and not enough to myself. So this is the best time to start saying no to certain things. You're going to feel this inner sense of overwhelm that you just can't literally handle taking on another project or something else, because our bodies also become less resilient to stress at this time. So it's like your body physically just can't handle the extra stuff right now. And that's okay. So you can give yourself permission to just be like, hey, I totally understand. This is going to be for something I do in 2 weeks, or, I'm going to save this for when I'm doing my ovulation, when I have more energy and more social things going on. So you can totally plan your life around this way. And then one of my favorite things about the luteal phase is this intense clean feeling that we get. So if you've ever had children, or ever been around pregnant women and they go through this nesting phase where they just start preparing for baby. So ladies, as we get our period, we go through this every single month as well. And so our luteal phase is a time to clean house. So not only do we want to clean our physical spaces, we also want to clean up anything in our life that is not serving us. And by tackling this stuff now and facing it head on right now, it's going to actually make your period much more enjoyable. And who knew that just by cleaning your house, literally clean out your closets, clean up your desk, clean up anything that you can to create some sort of order and structure to your life, because that's what your body is looking for right now. And then if you have any relationships in your life or any sort of conversation that you've been dreading having, now's the time to do it. Your body's pushing you to deal with it and to deal with it head on, which makes kind of the rest of your month a little bit more enjoyable, where you're like, okay, I can have, focus on my luteal phase now, and I can get all this stuff done now, where it's then going to just allow you to breathe easier. You're just going to have more positive energy flowing through your body, and you're just going to feel so amazing that you'll notice that moodiness and that irritability goes away, and just by articulating essentially what you need. So I think this is one of the hardest things for women, and what I noticed across so many cultures and so many things is that we are nurturing beings. We want to be helpful for other people. But during our luteal phase, it's when it shows up, when we are essentially being too helpful. We're being not selfish enough for ourselves, and we keep doing things for everybody else because it makes us feel good to take care of others. But if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to notice at this time, and it's your absolute monthly check-in to be like, am I taking care of too many people? So if that's the case, you need to articulate what you need. And so it's not enough to just wish and hope that people will change. You have to tell them what they need from you. And so I see that a lot with women too, where we just want to expect our partner to understand what we want, or not have to tell them. And I've totally been down that road, but men aren't mind readers. We have to tell them what we want. And the same goes for your kids, for your friends, for your families. Absolutely use that beautiful voice of yours and articulate what you need. Because when you do so, you're giving yourself value. You are valuing yourself and giving yourself permission to continue to say yes. And the more that you say yes, the more that you set these boundaries and these expectations on what's going to work for you. That doesn't mean that you're doing it in a rude way. You are doing it in a nice way of what works for you to communicate what you need, and then it is just releasing this pressure and anxiety that you are essentially holding on too tightly in your body. So I hope this helps explain your luteal phase and the food and the lifestyle things that you can incorporate, and just how just letting go and articulating your needs can make this phase so much more easy for you, so much more sound, and just helping relieve that bloat and anything else that you need to do to really focus your energy in a way that works for you, so that you can be living the life that you want. That's exactly what you deserve to have, and you can use your luteal phase as is this working for me? Is this not? And then how do I need to make these changes in my life to get what I want? Because you are a powerful lady, and you need to be able to use that voice of yours, because the more you hold it inside, the more irritable and moody you're going to be. So you can now start being one of those women in the 10% that does not deal with any of these PMS symptoms. And if you want more help on this topic, you can visit my website at laurasherrill.com. I have a free PMS guide on how to eliminate this from your life. And obviously, make sure to check in with me and let me know how you're doing. So that was all about your luteal phase, the 10 to 14 day period right after your ovulation phase and right before your period starts. So tune in next week where we're going to be talking all about your menstrual phase and how to have a happy and calm period, which I think every single woman is looking for. So thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.